Hello Riverbank, and how are you all today? Today we're going to read chapter 6. Can you remember what happened in chapter 5? Yes, that's right. JJ has gone missing. Something in the long grass I think has taken him, but we're not quite sure. Oscar and Life went over to see where he was, and he wasn't there. He'd completely disappeared. So this week we're going to read chapter 6. And maybe we'll find out a little bit more about what's happened. Well, I hope you are all keeping safe and well, and we will begin to read chapter 6. Along the riverbank. Chapter 6. The Hunt for JJ. The rain was lashing down as Oscar and Life stood at the face of the long grass. They both jumped as the lightning flashed and the thunder roared. Both otters' furs were soaked right through, and it had really started to get dark now. The wind was really blowing. They started to run across the meadow to the riverbank, both with faces of worry for their friend and brother Life. "What were those red eyes?" asked Life. "I have no idea," said Oscar. "I've never seen anything like it. I hope JJ's okay." They ran up the riverbank towards Big Joe's house. Big Joe was in the front room watching TV with his wife Renee and JJ and Life's older brother Rob. When JJ and Oscar came bursting through the door, Rob started to laugh. "You two look like drowned rats." JJ's mum, Renee, was looking confused. "Where is JJ?" she said. Life started to cry and then told them about what had happened and how there were red eyes in the long grass and how JJ just disappeared. Renee started to cry. Big Joe listened intently. He never said a word. He just listened. Then he spoke.
"Try not to worry. Soon come. Life, Oscar, come over here. I've told you not to worry. Go on upstairs. Go dry yourself and keep warm."
The two otters went upstairs. "Rob, go with them. I need to speak with your father," Renee said. Renee started to cry.
"Dry your eyes,"
said Joe. "Please be careful, Joe, and bring JJ back to me."
"It's now time for me to do what I have to do,"
he said, and left the house. Joe knew how serious the situation was. He kept his calm whilst in the house. He had to remain strong for his family, but inside he was so very worried for his boy. He was almost certain those red eyes must be the wolves. But what were they doing coming out of the fearful forest? And why take JJ? He thought. Surely Zakonan hasn't returned. Joe started to run. There was one person that could help him now, and Joe was going to see him. Time was short. Joe knew that. The rain was still lashing down and bouncing off the floor. Night had started to fall. The moon was shimmying off the river, and the rain fell heavy into it, causing thousands of ripples and distorting the reflection of the moon. He jumped into the river and started to swim. Joe knew the dangers of being out at night, but who in their right mind was going to mess with Big Joe? He jumped out of the river and ran down the riverbank, his heavy paws hitting the rain-soaked ground, splash, as he ran through puddles and puddles of water. He got to the Cistercian bridge. He heard a voice from the other side.
"Joe!"
the voice called from the darkness.
"Who goes there? Identify yourself on the other side of the bridge."
Joe replied.
"Joe, it's me, Christine the cat, and Reese the rabbit. We heard what happened to young JJ and we were on our way to you."
"It fills me with joy to know that good news travels fast,"
Joe said.
"No time for that now,"
said Reese.
"Can we be of any help?"
"I know where you're heading, Joe. How long has it been since you were there?"
not reached up them sides for years. It's easy to see why a place like this would give some people the creeps.
Joe crossed the Cistercian bridge. Joe, Reese and Christine ran through Willow Tree Wood, over the brook, down through the bog and towards the Belide Glade. As they approached the entrance, there was an old sign that read, "I shall arise and go now, and go to Innisfree. In a small cabin built there, of clay and wattles made. I shall have some peace there, as peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veil of evening to where the linen sings. 9 bean rows I shall have there, and a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the Belide Glade."
Where do you suppose he'll be?
He will be at the mighty oak tree. It is said that the mighty oak tree draws power from all trees, every tree in the world, including the magical oak tree that stands at the Battle of the Boyne site in Ireland.
A voice from above answered.
That is right, my old friend.
They looked up into the night sky, and there, flying above them, was Liam the Wise.
Well, now, I know why you're here, Joe. Meet me at the mighty oak.
Said Liam, and flew off.
Come,
Said Joe.
watch out for the leprechauns, pixies, and the bees.
As they approached the mighty oak tree, Liam was already perched on a branch. He swooped down and welcomed his friends.
Greetings.
Liam said.
It's been too long. The same we had to meet under such bad circumstances.
Said Liam.
Sir Conan has returned.
That's impossible. Sir Conan hasn't been seen for years after his defeat to Joe. He left the fearful forest and the Cadies took over the pack. They continued to live peacefully all of these years and never stepped foot from the fearful forest.
Sir Conan has returned with a pack of new dangerous wolves.
Said Liam.
Those wolves led by Mercedes have now joined back with Sir Conan, and I fear Joe. Sir Conan's power might be too much for you.
As Liam said this, the mighty oak started to glow green.
Get ready to defend yourselves. And up now, boys.
Said Liam.
Wolves have entered the Belide Glade. I shall arise and go now.
He took off into the air. Reese, Chris and Joe turned round. Liam circled above.
All 3 wolves are approaching.
Said Liam. Joe ran ahead to face the wolves.
You should not have come here.
Shouted Joe as he approached. He could see it was Mercedes.
Mercedes,
He shouted.
where is my boy? I'm gonna pound you to the ground.
And that's the end of chapter 6. I wonder what them 3 wolves are doing in the Belide Glade and what Joe's gonna do. Tune in next week and we'll find out in chapter 7. Well, I hope you are all keeping safe and well and washing your hands, and I will see you all soon.